Hello my dear class 7 students. Today we will learn about the chapter nervous system. Today in our biology our chapter of discussion is nervous system. Here we will learn about the nervous system in humans. So before going to nervous system, I want to tell you one thing, that is some terms you have to know before understanding this nervous system. Some terms you have to know, and one such term is stimulus. STIMULUS. And before starting this, I will request all of you that watch the full video. Video may be lengthy, but still have patience and watch the full video so that you can understand the concept. Otherwise, you will not understand properly. So let's start. So now, what is stimulus? All living organism, you know that all living organism, one character is that respond to the changes. Living organism respond to changes. Where are the changes? The changes in the environment. In the environment, if there is any change, living organism responds. These changes are known as stimulus or stimuli. These changes, the changes in the environment, these changes are stimuli. Plural number, stimuli is plural number, singular number is stimulus. And living organisms show some reaction for the particular stimulus. And living organism show reaction to the stimulus. This reaction for a particular stimulus, the reaction for a particular stimulus is known as response. So this is the character of living things, that to give a response to a particular stimulus. For example, suppose when you touch, if you accidentally touch a hot utensil, if you accidentally touch a hot utensil is there, you accidentally touch it. So what you will do? You will quickly pull your hand away. So here the heat is the stimulus. The heat is the stimulus here, and heat is the stimulus, and you are moving your hand. That is the response. Now if you feel hungry, sometimes when you feel hungry, what we do after, if we feel hungry, we eat food. So here hunger is the stimulus. And eating food. And because of this stimulus, we are eating the food. Then eating the food is the response. Okay. Now, this response to a particular stimulus involves many organs of the body. For example, if you run, when we run, what happens? Our muscles need more energy, and suppose when we run, we are running, what the body needs? Muscles need energy. Muscles need energy, more energy, and to produce more energy, more oxygen is required. To produce more energy, and to increase this oxygen supply, what happens? Breathing rate increases. So you can see these are dependent on one another. Simultaneously, as you are running, what is happening? Your breathing rate increases. So this happens, na? So you can see there is a action, back to back, there is back to back action. So response toward stimulus involves many organs of the body, different actions, and which are interrelated. So you can see these are interrelated with each other. So it is necessary that all the organs that are involved in the particular response work with one another in a systematic manner. The organs will work with one another in a systematic manners, and all such actions have to be properly timed. All such actions have to be properly timed. So this is coordination. This is coordination. Working together, all the various organs of an organism are working together in a systemic manner so as to produce a proper response to a stimulus is called coordination. That is, the organs, you see, the organs are interrelated with each other. Organs are working together and they are properly timed. They are properly timed. They are systematic. They are functioning in a systematic way, and in such way, when working together, so in this way what is happening, they are producing a proper response. This is known as coordination. So the interaction of the activities of living beings as per the need of the body internally or externally is called coordination. And there are two types of coordination in human being. One is nervous coordination, another one is chemical coordination. What is nervous coordination? First one is nervous coordination. Nervous coordination is done by the nervous system. Nervous coordination, you know, in our body there is nervous system. You have heard about that. There are different body system, there are different organ system in our body: digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, excretory system, reproductive system, nervous system. So nervous coordination is in the department of nervous system, and the nervous system is made up of brain, spinal cord and nerves. Nervous system is made up of brain, spinal cord, and nerve. This is about the nervous system. So let us understand this with the help of an example. Okay. Now suppose you are hungry. What do you want? You want to eat food. What happens at that time in your body? A number of coordinated activities occur in your body, inside your body, to give a proper response. So what happens after that? When you are hungry, you look at your food. First you look at food. Okay? Your eyes look at your food. Your eyes look at the food. Now they send message to the brain. Now your eyes send that message to brain. Brain gets the message. Then brain takes the decision. Brain takes the decision to have the food, and it send message to the hand. Send message to your hand. Now the hand and the fingers pick up the food. Now your hand and the fingers pick up the food and put it in the mouth. Hands pick up the food and put in mouth. Now the food, you eat the food, then you eat the food. The food goes to your alimentary canal. After that, the food is digested, that you know already in class 6 digestive system. After eating that, the food is digested and absorbed in the blood, and your body cells get the food. So you can see this is a sequence of actions. Back to back they are happening. When there is a stimulus, hunger is the stimulus. So back to back these responses are happening in your body, and these are working together. These are happening in a systematic manner, and these are properly timed. So this is nervous coordination. Okay, your nervous system is doing that. Nervous system comprised of brain, spinal cord and nerves, and this is one example. With the help of an example, now you have understood that how the nervous coordination is going inside your body. Okay. Then another coordination is done by chemical coordination. Chemical coordination, and chemical coordination is not in the department of the nervous system. It involves endocrine system. It involves endocrine system, and endocrine system is made up of different endocrine glands, and those glands secrete hormones. So chemical coordination is done by the hormones secreted by endocrine glands, and this is chemical coordination. Hormones are some chemicals which are secreted, and these are also known as chemical messenger. In the next class we will learn about the hormone. Now in our class, the hormone is not in our syllabus, so just we will learn that chemical coordination is done by the endocrine system, and the endocrine system is made up of endocrine glands, and the endocrine glands secrete hormones. One example is given. In an emergency situation, if you suddenly attacked by a bull in the street, you try to run away from the bull. So what happens in that situation? It is known as emergency situation. Certain chemicals are released into the blood. These certain chemicals is the hormone. Here one emergency hormone is secreted, and which is released into the blood and provide you extra energy to cope up with the emergency situation and give you the energy and strength to run away from the area of danger. Okay, so now we will back to our nervous system, and we will learn about the structural and functional unit of nervous system. The structural and functional unit of nervous system is the neuron. The structural and functional unit of nervous system is the neuron or the nerve cell. What is the structure of this neuron? Here you can see here, it is the diagram of a neuron, and the neuron is made up of two main parts. One is this part, another one is this one. A neuron is made up of two main parts. The main cell body, you can see this structure. This is the main cell body, which is known as cyton. Or cell body, and cyton contains cytoplasm and a centrally placed nucleus. Here is the cytoplasm, and here you see this round structure. This is the centrally placed nucleus. This is about the cell body. Now from this cell body, you see this cell body gives out a number of processes, number of branches. These parts, these are dendrites. These are known as dendrites. These processes which is projected from the cell body, those are known as dendrites, and these are short cytoplasmic extension. These are short cytoplasmic extension, you can say. Now another part, this long process. You see here this green color thread, green color process, this is known as action. Action is a single, long and cylindrical structure. It is a long cylindrical structure. It arises from the cyton. It is arising from the cyton, and this action part, this is covered by a protective covering. This blue color covering, can you see the green? Inside it there is the green cylindrical structure, but the blue color covering, it is a protective covering. It is known as myelin sheath. It is known as myelin sheath, and the end of the action, here you see the end portion, the end of the action is branched. These are known as terminal branches. The end, at the end portion, the action is branched. These branches are known as terminal branches, and at the each end of the terminal branch there is a bulb-like structure. At each end there is a bulb-like structure which are known as synaptic knob. When the actions are ending, at the end of each branch, suppose it is the terminal branches, if it is the terminal branches, if it is the terminal branch, then at the end there is a bulb-like structure. These bulb-like structures are known as synaptic knob. Now this part, the cell body, the extension, the cytoplasmic extension, the dendrites, they receive messages from the organs. They receive messages from the organs and they carry the message. They receive the message and transmit the message through the cell body into the action which transmit the message. At the end of the action terminates, a number of branches are there. These are terminal branches, and at the end there are synaptic knob. When suppose one neuron is ending and another neuron is beginning, so there will be a place where the action ends and the cell body or the dendron begins. So that place, the terminal branches of the action of one neuron lie very close to the dendrites of another neuron. At this point is known as synapse. This point is known as synapse. It is at the synapse that the message is transmitted from one axon of the neuron to the dendrite of the next neuron. So neurons are lying end to end. So when one axon is ending, from the next portion the dendrite of another neuron is beginning. So in between there is a space, there is a gap, that is known as synapse. And at the synapse, the message is transmitted from the action of one neuron to the dendrite of next neuron. Messages are relayed in this manner from one neuron to next. In this way, messages are transmitted. Now, neurons transmit message. Neurons transmit messages in the form of signals. Neurons transmit messages all over the body in the form of signals. These signals are known as nerve impulse. These signals are known as nerve impulse. Suppose it is the action, it is the end portion of one neuron, and it is the beginning portion of another. So it is dendrite. Here one neuron is ending, that is the terminal portion of the action, and from here one neuron is beginning, that is the dendrite portion, of the next neuron. These dendrites receive a message, that is nerve impulse, from the previous neuron, and they transmit it to another. In this way, impulses are transmitted via neuron. The neurons are not joined to one another completely. Again, I am telling you that the neurons are not joined. There is a small gap. You see here, there is a small gap between the dendrites of a neuron and the axon terminal of another neuron. This is known as synapse. That's why I have drawn this one. There is nothing else importance of this picture, only to show you that this portion is known as synapse. That is the ending portion of one neuron and beginning portion of another neuron. There is a small gap which is known as synapse. The synapse ensures that the nerve impulses travel in one direction only. So in this way, from axon to dendrite, this arrow, what the arrow indicates? The arrow indicates direction of nerve impulse. Okay, the arrow indicates the direction of the nerve impulse. So in this way, message transmit via neuron. The dendrites receive a message from an organ. They transmit it here. Here the dendrites receive a message from an organ. They transmit it to the axon through the cell body. Then the impulse goes to the axon ending, and from the axon ending it goes to another neuron. In this way, signal transmits. Okay. Now the types of neuron. There are three types of neuron. Sensory neuron. First one. What is sensory neuron? They convey the impulse, as I told you, nerve impulses I have told. So they convey the impulse from the sense organ to the main nervous system. They convey the impulse from sense organs, from the sense organs to the main nervous system. And you know what is the main nervous system? Main nervous system means that is brain or spinal cord. It is either brain or spinal cord. So if I ask you that what is sensory neuron, you will tell me that the neurons which convey the nerve impulse from the sense organ to the main nervous system. Main nervous system means to the brain or spinal cord. They are known as sensory neuron. Next one is motor neuron. Next one is motor neurons. They carry the impulse. So obviously they are neuron, that means their function is to carry nerve impulses. So they carry the impulse from the main nervous system. From the main nervous system. Main nervous system means either from brain or spinal cord to the muscle or gland. That is from the place where the action will be taken. So motor neurons carry impulses from the brain or spinal cord to the gland or muscle. This muscle or gland where the impulse is taken, that are known as effector. Okay. So sensory neuron means from sense organ to the main nervous system, and motor neuron means from the nervous system, that is from brain or spinal cord to the effector, that is muscle or gland. Another one is association neurons. Association neurons. Association neurons interconnect. Their function is interconnect the sensory and motor neurons. Their function is to interconnect the sensory and motor neurons. They are located in the brain and spinal cord. These association neurons, they are located in the brain, that is they are located in the main nervous system. Association neurons are located in the main nervous system. So these are the three types of neuron. Now what is nerve? Many neurons are there, that means many actions are also there. So a bundle of actions are also known as nerve fibers. Actions are also known as nerve fibers. So a bundle of actions, many actions together when enclosed in a tubular sheath, and that sheath means a covering, that is known as medullary sheath. It's called a nerve. You see here, this is the sheath. This brown colored structure, can you see? This is the covering, this is the tubular medullary sheath, and inside it you see many actions are there. These nerve fibers means these are the long cylindrical actions. So a bundle of nerve fibers enclosed in a tubular sheath, that is known as nerve. Here you see the brown color structure, it's the covering, and inside it there are many actions. So this structure is known as a nerve. Okay, this is the structure of a nerve. Nerve fibers grouped into a nerve. Nerves are of three types. Nerves are of three kinds. Sensory nerve. Sensory nerve means contains only sensory neuron. I told you what is sensory neuron. Just I told you that what are the three types of neuron. So these are sensory neuron. The nerve which contains only sensory neuron are sensory nerve. Okay. Motor nerve. Motor nerve means you understand that the nerve which contains only motor neurons. The nerve which contains only motor neurons, they are known as motor nerve. And mixed nerve means it is the one in which both sensory and motor neurons are there. That is mixed together. Both sensory and motor nerves are together, is present in the mixed nerve. So nerves are of three types: sensory nerve, motor nerve, and mixed nerve. Okay. Now nervous system. Now human nervous system. The nervous system of human consists of the following three systems. One is the central nervous system, CNS. First one is central nervous system or CNS. The central nervous system consists of the brain and spinal cord. See here. It is the brain. You can see this deep green portion. It is the brain, and you see this one. This is the spinal cord. So the central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord. The brain is located inside a bony box that is known as skull. The brain is located inside the skull, and the spinal cord is located within the vertebral column. So the brain and the spinal cord together, they form the CNS or central nervous system. See here, brain, spinal cord, central nervous system. Central nervous system controls most of the functions in the body. Central nervous system controls most of the functions in the body. Now PNS or peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system, it consists of nerves passing to and from the central nervous system, reaching out to all parts of the body. See, from the brain and the spinal cord, you can see so many nerves emerge. These thin nerves by green color, you can see, they are arising from the brain and the spinal cord, and they are reaching to all other parts of the body. So this is peripheral nervous system. It includes the nerve which carry impulses to and from the central nervous system. They carry impulses to and from the central nervous system. So they carry impulses from the central nervous system to other body parts, and they carry impulses from the other body parts to the central nervous system. So the peripheral nervous system include the nerves which carry impulses to and from the central nervous system, and this peripheral nervous system, they branch out either from the brain or from the spinal cord. You can see either from the brain or from the spinal cord they branch out, and they form a communication network between the central nervous system and other body parts. They are the media, they are forming the communication network between the central nervous system and other body parts. Okay, so this is about peripheral nervous system. Next is ANS, or autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system, this consists of Autonomic nervous system consists of a pair of chains of ganglia. Ganglia means a mass of nerve cells. A mass of nerve cells together form ganglia, and this ANS consists of a pair of chains of ganglia and nerves which control certain vital functions of the body and which are not in our control. So autonomic nervous system consists of a pair of chains of ganglia. Ganglion means mass of nerve cell and nerves. This system is not in our conscious control. This autonomic nervous system is not in our conscious control, and it regulates and coordinates breathing, heartbeat, peristalsis. You know, in our alimentary canal, the food goes down by the continuous contraction and relaxation of the alimentary canal, which is known as peristalsis. So that peristalsis, heartbeat, respiratory movement, which are not in our conscious control, that one is managed by the autonomic nervous system, or ANS. So these are the three types of nervous system. Now brain. So this is our brain. Brain is the main control center of the body. It is the main control center of the body. It is a delicate organ. Brain is very delicate organ, and it is protected by the skull, by the bony box, the skull. The human brain is the most complex and important organ of the body, master organ, because it controls everything. It is the central organ of our nervous system, along with the spinal cord. On average, an adult human brain weighs about 1.5 kg. It is contained in and protected by a bony structure, you know, the bony structure which is known as skull or cranium. The brain is further encloses in three protective membranes. There is this bony box or skull which protects the brain, but there is also a covering. The covering of the brain is known as meninges. Meninges is three-layered structure. The meninges layer is three-layered structure. It protects the brain and called the meninges, which are separated by cerebrospinal fluid. Inside that there is cerebrospinal fluid. A fluid is there, but the meninges separate the brain from the fluid, and it acts as a protective covering. The brain has three main parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. So this portion is cerebrum, this is cerebellum, this is cerebrum or cerebral hemisphere, This is cerebrum or cerebral hemisphere. This is the largest portion you can see. This is the diagram of the brain. Okay, this is the diagram where you can see this is the cerebrum. It is the largest part of the brain and it is also known as cerebral hemisphere. It is divided into two halves. One is right one, another is left one, and the outer surface you see many grooves and ridges are there. The outer surface has, if any brain structure you see, you can see many grooves and ridges are there because it increases the surface area. Because it increases the surface area, there are so many folds. These folds and these grooves, these ridges increase the surface area, so they can accommodate a large number of neurons. If surface area is increased, then a large number of neurons can accommodate there. So it is the structure of the cerebral hemisphere, and human cerebrum contains about 9 billion neurons, and the cerebrum is the seat of intelligence, consciousness, willpower. So this intelligence, consciousness, willpower, determination, all the things are controlled by this portion, and it controls all the voluntary activities. All the voluntary means which we can do by our own choice. These are voluntary movements that is controlled by the cerebral hemisphere, and the function is all the voluntary activities of the body like vision, hearing, speech, taste, smell, touch, everything is controlled by this portion. Vision, hearing, speech, taste, smell and touch, and it is also responsible for intelligence, language, memory, consciousness, willpower. So these are the functions of cerebrum or cerebral hemisphere. Next we come to this portion, which is a small part of the brain, and it is located at the back of the head under the cerebrum. It is at the back position under the cerebrum, cerebellum. This portion is known as cerebellum, and cerebellum, its main function is to balance the body and coordinate muscular activities. Coordination in the muscular activities and balancing is the function of cerebellum. The cerebellum portion balances the body while walking, running, jogging, cycling, and it also regulates and coordinates muscular activities. Okay, now one example I am giving you, that if you get an idea to stand up and walk, the idea is coming in your mind that I will stand up. It arises in the cerebrum because all the thinking, memory, these are controlled by the cerebrum portion. But the muscles involved in the process, that if you want to stand up, then your muscle, there will be your movement in your muscle, there will be movement in your muscle. So the muscle contraction, relaxation, that lies under the control of cerebellum. So the thinking, just I will stand up, that thinking will initiate, that thinking will be controlled by cerebrum portion. But for doing that activity, the muscle movement will be controlled by the cerebellum. So both are working together. Another example I am giving you, if you have an idea of writing something on paper, so this idea will come into your mind by the cerebrum portion, that I will write it. But for the muscle involved in writing, that you will hold a pen, you will write, so the muscle involved in writing, that will be under the control of cerebellum. Now when a person drinks alcohol, then his or her cerebellum portion is affected, and due to this you see a drunk person is unable to walk properly. There is not proper coordination, or there is not proper balance in their muscular movement. So there is a problem in the coordination in his or her muscular movements. That's why they cannot walk properly, because for drinking, after drinking alcohol, this cerebellum portion gets affected. Now medulla oblongata. this portion you see, this portion is present at the posterior part of the brain. It joins the brain to the spinal cord, because after brain, spinal cord is arising. This extension, this part is the spinal cord. So medulla oblongata is the portion which joins the brain to the spinal cord, and this medulla oblongata portion controls the involuntary activities. Involuntary means which are not in our control. The involuntary activities of the body, like blood pressure, heartbeat, peristalsis of the alimentary canal, movement of the organ during breathing process, these are controlled by the medulla oblongata. And one important thing, that if there is any injury to the medulla oblongata portion, then that may result in the immediate death of the person, because breathing, peristalsis, heartbeat, blood pressure, everything is in the control of medulla oblongata. It is the lowest part of the brain and continues down to the spinal cord. Its function is to control the activity of internal organ. For example, beating of the heart, respiratory movement, as I told you, heartbeat, for respiration, the movement of the respiratory organs, peristalsis, that is alimentary canal, relaxes and contracts, so the food goes down. So these are these are controlled by the medulla oblongata, and injury to the medulla oblongata may result in immediate death of the person. So this is about the structure of human brain. Next is spinal cord. Spinal cord. The spinal cord extends from the medulla oblongata of the brain. I told you that medulla oblongata joins the brain and spinal cord, so it extends after that portion and runs down almost to the whole length of the backbone. See here, it is the spinal cord. It is a spinal cord, and spinal cord is a long, narrow, cylindrical cord-like structure. It's a long, narrow, cylindrical cord-like structure. It extends from the medulla oblongata and runs down almost the whole length of the backbone, and it is protected by vertebral column. It is protected by vertebral column, and 31 pairs of nerves arise from the spinal cord. From the spinal cord, 31 pairs of nerves arise from spinal cord. They are known as spinal nerves. They are known as spinal nerves. What is the function of spinal cord? Spinal cord conducts messages from the skin and muscles to the brain. It conducts messages from the different body parts, like from the skin and from the muscle. It conducts message to the brain. It conducts message from the brain to the muscle. So from skin, from muscle, they conduct the impulse to the brain. They conduct the impulse to the brain, and from the brain to the muscles of the body and to the other body parts, muscles, they conduct the impulse from the brain to the muscles. Okay, so conduction of impulses, and it controls reflexes. Reflex control is very important function of spinal cord. So what is reflex? Reflex is an instant response, you can say, involuntary and nearly instant response to a stimulus. For example, I told you, when you touch a hot utensil, I have given this example before, that when you touch a hot utensil, this hot utensil is the stimulus. You accidentally touch it. Now what you will do? Instantly, immediately you will move your hand away. That is the response, and that response is involuntary and instant. that is the instant movement of your hand that will take your hand away from the hot utensil. This involuntary and nearly instant movement in response to a stimulus is known as reflex, and this reflex action is controlled by the spinal cord. Okay, so this is the function of spinal cord, that control reflex, conduct message from the skin and muscle to the brain, conduct commands from the brain to the muscles of the trunk and the limb. So this is about our spinal cord. These are the parts of the nervous system, brain and spinal cord, and each part function is given in the chart. Already we have discussed. Now that up to this we have discussed about brain and spinal cord, that means our CNS, central nervous system. Now we will go for peripheral nervous system. And I told you what is peripheral nervous system. It includes the nerve which carry impulses to and from the central nervous system. It consists of nerve which connect the central nervous system to all parts of the body. It consists of nerves passing to and from the central nervous system, reaching out to all parts of the body. This peripheral nervous system is divided into somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system consists of two sets of nerves, cranial nerves and spinal nerves. So somatic nervous system consists of somatic nervous system that consists of cranial nerves. Cranial nerves, 12 pairs. Cranial nerves are 12 pairs and they emerge from the brain. Cranial nerves emerge from the brain, 12 pairs of cranial nerves are there. And another one is spinal nerve. As I told you, spinal nerves are 31 pairs and they emerge from the spinal cord. Just in case of spinal cord, when I was discussing about spinal cord, I told you that 31 pairs spinal nerves are there. So they come under these 31 pairs spinal nerves, they come under peripheral nervous system. So the brain and the spinal cord alone form the CNS, but the nerves which are arising from them, this I have shown you the diagram before, this deep green portion, this brain and spinal cord, they are only CNS, but all the nerves which are arising from it, that is from the brain 12 pairs of cranial nerves arise, from the spinal cord 31 pairs of spinal nerves arise. These cranial nerves, spinal nerves, they come under the somatic nervous system, which is the part of the peripheral nervous system, PNS. Okay, so this is about our somatic nervous system. Example, olfactory nerve from the nose to smell. Olfactory nerve, it is related to the nose and it is concerned with smell. Optic nerve, eyes, it is from the eyes to see. Facial nerves from the tongue to taste. Auditory nerves from the ears to hear. So these olfactory, auditory, auditory nerve, optic nerve, olfactory nerve, these are the somatic nerves and these come the cranial nerves, they arise from the brain. So this is cranial nerve. And here autonomic nervous system is another division of peripheral nervous system. I told you that autonomic nervous system means it consists of a pair of chains of ganglia. Ganglia means mass of nerve cell and nerve which control certain vital functions, that is, it is not in our conscious control. This is not in our conscious control, like respiratory movement, peristalsis, breathing. These involuntary actions are under the control of this ANS. This system acts largely unconsciously and controls the involuntary activities of the internal organs, as I told you. And autonomic nervous system, two types of nerves are there. Two types of nervous system are there: sympathetic nerve and parasympathetic nerve system. Sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve system, what is the function? The function is just antagonistic to one another. Antagonistic means opposite. So if sympathetic nerve does something, if sympathetic nerves initiate some action, then parasympathetic nerve will do the opposite to neutralize. Sympathetic nervous system produces immediate fight or flight. So what is this? Fight or flight? Fight means if there is any emergency situation, if there is any abnormal situation or any emergency situation, in that case, if you try to fight, if you try to cope up with that situation, that is fight. And flight means you escape from the situation. Either you fight in the situation, you try to cope up with that situation, or you try to escape from that situation. That is fight or flight responses. So in case of abnormal conditions or emergency conditions, these two systems work and they balance each other. Sympathetic nervous system prepares the body for violent action against abnormal condition. If any abnormal condition is there, then sympathetic nervous system prepares the body for violent action, for taking the action. And the parasympathetic nervous system is more concerned with re-establishing the normal situation after the violent act is over. After the abnormal condition is over, the parasympathetic nerve try to normalize the situation. If sympathetic nervous system increases the heart rate, if you maybe any situation is there, abnormal condition is there, that you are scared of that, there is fear in your mind, you are disturbed, so in that case your heart rate increases. So it is the action of sympathetic nervous system. But after the action is over, your heart rate will again be in normal condition. Your heart rate will decrease, decrease and it will be back to normal condition. So this is the function of that parasympathetic nervous system, that is they work in opposite to each other. One neutralizes the action of other. So this is the action of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so this is about our chapter human nervous system. Exercise question answers I have given. Read the chapter well, and if you have any doubt, then you can contact me in working hour and write the question answers in your biology copy. Study well and stay safe. Take care. Thank you.